Metro 2033 possesses many animals that have become twisted versions of their former selves, but there exists a creature that stands above the rest, quite literally, and has ascended to the nickname of the Forest God. This creature's former stature was so menacing that it really didn't even need to change all that much to keep up with the newly created radioactive monsters that lived around it. We are speaking, of course, of the bear. I'm about to blow away everybody right now. With only one adult and a few cubs seen within the ruins of Moskva, that's right, it can be presumed that others exist, explaining the existence of the bear cubs. But what exactly has happened to the creatures after the nuclear exchange between the United States and Russia? Let's check out the lore and morphology of this she-bear as referred to by the Russians. Let's first talk about the overall mutation process that has afflicted this animal. Surprisingly, these mutations, while clearly visible, honestly don't look like they've changed that much if you compare it with the other animals in the surrounding area. The bear has maintained its overall shape and its size has been increased, but probably much less than you'd imagine, as anyone who can tell you that's actually seen a bear in real life. Bears are friggin' huge, man. An explanation as to why the bear was able to keep its overall shape is because bears are going to be an apex creature by itself. Man is only apex because of our brains and intelligence, but the fact is, if we had the intelligence of a bear, we wouldn't be apex. A bear is apex in the wild naturally, as its raw power and razor-sharp claws make it a formidable animal to come across. This means that evolutionarily, a bear is OP and probably could actually stand to be nerfed a little bit. Before the war, a bear could easily take down large animals, tearing them apart. After the war, there are larger animals, but the bear probably would still have no issues taking them down, and you guess it, tearing it apart. Except now, there is really more meat for this creature. Still though, in the land of giants, the bear grew to basically be larger than its pre-war ancestors, giving it even more, I guess, of an overpowered presence, I would say. Its larger size has granted it safety from pretty much everything prowling around, and although other animals will be animals, and there are territorial disputes as smaller creatures are constantly testing the borders to see if the bear is still patrolling, the bear is really gonna be able to just smack down anything that comes to it. Just like the pre-war bears, the bear is going to be an omnivore, or as I like to call it, a garbage disposal. The mutated bear will eat anything and everything as long as it's actually edible, whether this be the shrimps, watchmen, Nasalis, a bold man or woman, or even a demon if it gets too ballsy enough to swoop down on the creature. This has afforded the creature a very successful life, and nutrient consumption, which can be seen, obviously, to support the muscular structure of this bear, because it looks like an Olympic bodybuilder in bear form. Though, aren't those really the Russians anyways? Bears on unicycles or something like that, right? Anyways, to sum it up, the bear does quite well in its environment and is at the tip top of the food chain. Speaking of how it looks, let's cover that. The bear itself is missing all of its fur. What is left is skin that looks like it has been stretched to its maximum tensile strength and is just barely containing the muscle. In many areas, you can see that there's almost open sores on the creature, as it is clear that in these areas, really the skin has been ripped because of all the extra muscle on this creature. The arms of the bear are going to be much larger than that of a regular bear. I would put it at really almost the size of a man's torso, which that is all muscle and bone. A regular bear swipe can about knock your head off. A swipe from this bear probably has so much force behind it that if it hits center mass, you would likely explode in a blood cloud with just pieces of you being left behind. The paws of the bear are actually going to be different from a normal bear paw as well. There exists a fifth finger that may act as an opposable thumb, as opposed to the immobile finger of regular bears. This extra fifth, it's not really an extra fifth finger, but its position of the finger, it's going to allow this bear to grip much better than normal. Presumably this would be used for grabbing quick prey and holding onto them. The claws themselves are larger than steak knives. At this point, they're really machetes, easily able to tear through anything in front of it, and with the power to back it up from its arms. Honestly, there is a reason they call this thing the Forest God, because it is the end game. Crazy strong and crazy lethal. The legs are pretty much what you would expect from a roided out bear. Gigantic. The legs of the bear are about similar with the arms and are heavily layered with stout muscle. The skin here is also stretched to its tearing point, and they possess large claws on their feet, but these aren't really going to be as useful as the ones on their hands or arms. The legs allow the creature to rear up on them and pounce down on prey. Now, a male Russian bear standing up can reach heights of around 9 foot 2 inches or roughly 2.75 meters. Good lord, that is a giant bear, and that's just pre-war. Post-war, this thing is almost double or even triple that size, so I would put this bear at anywhere from 16 to 20 feet tall when standing on its back legs, which for the Euro bros out there is going to be 4.87 to 6.09 meters. At that point, just go ahead and accept that you're probably mega dead. The weight of this thing is nothing to scoff at either. Right now, Russian bears on average, they're going to be about 1,433 pounds or 650 kilograms. Like I said though earlier, double to triple the mass of this creature is going to give you a weight range of 2,866 to 4,300 pounds or 1,300 to 1,950 kilograms. That's large enough to knock down trees just by leaning on them. That's an angry, mutated semi-truck charging at you. And due to this extra mass, the bears are going to be largely immune to gunfire. They're not going to be unstoppable, but I mean, they're pretty much unstoppable. There are weak points, but overall, it's just going to be like a mosquito biting you, a minor annoyance. The back of the creature has been heavily altered, appearing just below a thin layer of skin, or even sometimes it looks exposed to air, exists the spine. The spine is much larger and contains, just how do I put it? The bone is going to be so dense. It's insane. Like, this thing looks like all this extra bone, you would think it wouldn't even be able to move, but I guess that's just the way it is in post-apocalyptic Russia. The spine is really kind of a mangled mess as well and very knobbly looking, but it has to be intact to allow the spinal cord through to move the rest of the body, so it works. Around the other side of the torso exists a large rib cage. Interestingly, it almost appears exposed on the creature, but I do doubt that it would be out in the open air, as that would put the internal organs at risk for infections and damage. So I assume that there is a very thin layer of skin over the skeletal cage, essentially. Now we get to what I am pretty sure everyone was waiting for, the face only a mother could love. So getting a good look at this thing is typically not something I would suggest you would want to do, but if you want to, hey man, just go for it. Luckily for my sanity, a couple people suggested that the museum makes things incredibly easy. The face is going to be exceedingly mangled, but not without purpose. The eyes will sit in their regular locations, giving the bear the ability to see prey, but in the new world, it's not just enough to see and hunt, and apparently regular teeth just don't cut it anymore. A jagged random assortment of massive razor sharp teeth jut out in different directions from the mouth. Some even appear to come from the nose region, which must have been kind of a pain to have those grow out of, but I would say that one bite from this thing could easily take off whatever appendage it gets a hold of, but it's also going to stab you multiple times surrounding that wound that it just bit and jaggedly pull away flesh, leading to massive hemorrhaging and blood loss literally within a minute. I would even say probably less than 30 seconds. No ears can be seen on this creature, but I doubt it is deaf. There are more than likely hidden ear holes, but this would have greatly affected its ability to hear anything close, which explains why Artyom was able to sneak up on them. Another point towards not being deaf is the bear is able to hear the, wails of its cubs if they ever get into any danger. Speaking of cubs, something interesting to note is that they appear less mutated than the mother. I have a thought on that actually. So first, why is the mother the way she is? Bears in Russia only live to be about 25 years or so old. So that says to me that either radiation gave the bears the ability to live longer, or she was born after the war. And if she was born after the war or was in gestation during the war, the radiation would have some effect on her. The second option is that the cubs will turn into what their mother is as they grow. And just like this bear did, maybe it was less mutated as it was younger, but then as it grew, these mutations took place. I could see all the random assortment of teeth coming out because, look at humans right now. We get wisdom teeth that come in around our late teens or so. So, I could definitely see other mammals having extra teeth come out of their face, especially due to radiation. Something you may be surprised to find out is that this bear is actually rather intelligent. So intelligent that it can empathize with humans humans. Upon taking down the creature, you will find that really this bear was just trying to protect her cubs from the territory battles that she seems embroiled with the Watchmen. She will slink away trying to escape from you, but she is fairly weak at this point. When you emerge through a thicket, you will find that the Watchmen are trying to eat her alive. So let's be real, man, if you didn't shoot those Watchmen immediately off of her, I think you might need to readjust some priorities. Upon shooting the Watchmen, an unintelligent creature would just assume that the fight is back on, even though you just helped it, and probably start attacking you once more. But the bear looks at you, clearly understands that you just helped it, gets up, and leaves, letting you through the area. This is an understanding of intention and not just random chance, leading me to believe that the creature is actually fairly intelligent and can interpret what your actions mean. So, we know what kind of animal this creature is, but there's more information to be had than just that. Is it a polar bear? A grizzly bear? A brown bear? A Kodiak bear? Well, on this planet, pretty much covering the northern latitudes across all continents of the northern latitudes, exists the brown bears. This particular bear evolved from the Russian brown bear specifically, as they are much larger than the North American brown bears and are all over the place. Not to mention, there exists a collection of brown bears that exists in the zoo of Moskva, which is where the particular forest god could have originated from. Thanks for bearing with me while I cover the lore and biology of this big ass bear from Metro 2033. The first time I saw this thing, I honestly thought it was terrifying. You face a lot of twisted creatures in the Metro series, but this one was absolutely insane. Also, the bear from Metro Exodus didn't appear to be twisted like this bear in particular, and it didn't appear as large if I'm remembering correctly. I'm gonna go watch the trailer again, but perhaps sexual dimorphism between males and females has been reversed, rendering the males smaller. I'm not certain, but either way, I can't wait to play Exodus. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you enjoyed it enough that you want to stay with the channel, hit that sub button. Also, I am just posting this here. I've got a Discord. Somebody asked me about it earlier. I don't think anybody actually reads the description, so I'm just gonna say it here. If you would like that, check the description. I also stream on Twitch, so that'll be in the description. Also a link to Patreon if you feel inclined to donate. As always, I would like to thank my patrons. At the scientist tier, we've got Layla Alizarin. Then, what's up, man? It's Master BC. And last but not least, it's Fritz. The resident tier is firing on all cylinders again with 3 residents. We've got G. Anderson, Richard Muhlenberg, and Alex Parks. With their PhD in genetics, we've got Divine Whisper and John Russo. The masters in biology are going to be Andrew Lawson, Brian H. Briggs, Cameron Smith, Professor Ryan Garnham, and Adam Hartswick. With their bachelors in morphological sciences, we've got a Big Fat Snake, Ahigo Comics, Dustin Ellis, Eric Scott Gillies, Joseph Radical, and Natsuki Chiaki. Thank you guys, I appreciate the support. So that's going to do it for me. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I will see y'all in the next one.